Welcome back, Risk Valor listeners. I'm your host, Alyssa, and I'm super excited if you are new here or existing. We welcome all people. We share some of the most amazing stories from incredible women who are doing amazing things out there in the world. And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Jen. She goes by Coach Jenn, too, if you're on social media. And she is a co-founder of Grace and Chaos. She is a coach. She helps with different businesses, and she has a really interesting story. She's a mother, has worked with the human trafficking, is a passionate supporter of ending that. And I can't wait to really dive into the details in her story because it is an extremely interesting one. And I know, oh gosh, what did we say in the phone conversation? The black sheep, but taking a different look on it. Taking a different take on the black sheep. But anyways, without further ado, welcome, Jen.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. Thank you for having me, and hello to all of your listeners. I'm
No,
super stoked to be
absolutely.
here.
Yes, and much like a lot of other guests, I've been connected by somebody else. Like we had a mutual contact, and then, it kind of stems from there. And he's like, I know someone that you need to talk to. And we had an amazing conversation that I was like, at this point, I just want to press record because you have such an incredible story.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we he's my brother pretty much. You
yeah.
guys had a conversation and he sent that text, and I love how that works. Just little footprints everywhere, and if you're willing, then it happens. And if you're not willing, then you miss your shot.
And it's that vulnerability too, in being open about your life, because it takes a lot to really step out of that and step into your voice. So, kind of, I guess, let's just start there. How did you find your voice? What milestones did you pass to get to Coach Jenn that you are today?
Gosh, lots and lots, and consistently. And I really, for me, the first thing is just when I wake up in the morning, just a really, really great reminder. And I just praise God that I'm here. And I just remind myself every morning, earth below me, sky above me. And
Hmm.
it's just a practice of gratitude that I was taught years ago. Prior to that, man, my parents are married. They're getting ready to celebrate 50 years of marriage.
Wow.
I know it's freaking amazing and insane. And I was the black sheep of the family. And I
Hmm.
think what I originally said was, no one told me how special and unique the black sheep really is.
Yeah.
Um, and um, and I had my voice then, and it got squashed when I was 5, probably unintentionally, but it got squashed, and that was the first pivotal moment. And
Wow.
at that point, I was going to show people, um, you know, I'll show you, and I certainly did for many years, but on the dark side, the wrong side of the team.
Wow.
And that was a catalyst of eventually, once I got my life right, I was never going back.
Hmm. That's incredible. And I know there's been a lot of other wild things that have happened. And I wish I had the terminology. You said I think you said it was a radical life. You have a very
Hmm.
radical life, and a lot of
Hmm.
things have happened, that have really shaped who you are, even to the faith point, like being God fearing. And I know we shared that over the phone too. That's something that I got back into, just my faith and being more connected to God. So, what other milestones have shaped who you are?
Gosh, well, I got sober at the age of 24 with 2 kids, left a marriage to get my life right. Finally, let women come in, and I wouldn't say that I let them love me right away, but that's what I didn't want to occur, but they were.
Yeah.
That was a huge milestone. And then there were lots of little milestones. This is a My mom's going to listen to this. I hope she already knows this story, but um, I was about 25, almost 26. I think I had about a year and a half sobriety. And at the time, she's still a freaking rad friend of mine, dear friend. And we were living
Yeah.
together, and we went out to a bar and watched some friends play in a band. And she was drinking, and I was just hanging out. And I hear from like across the bar, I can hear her voice. And it, like, this place was packed. You couldn't
Yeah.
move. And, and I'm like, ding, oh, here it is. And my Captain Savaho cape came on, and running across the bar, and I get over there, and there's a huge brawl, and lo and behold, there's one of my best friends right in the middle of it. And
Wow.
so we get in this brawl inside the bar. Then of course the girlfriends, oh, I forgot to mention, she decides to pick on some men.
Oh,
So we handle that inside. They get pissed, then the girlfriends get pissed. We get shoved outside. Anyways, it gets to be a little bit of a mess. And I really realized I had like a moment of clarity again. Like, Jen, if you don't get out of here, you're going to prison.
yeah.
Like, did you get sober to do this? And I picked her up, put her over my shoulder, ran to the car, and um, got in the car. We took off. You would think that that would have been enough. And
Hmm.
then 5 minutes later, she's like, my everyone calls me Hooper. That's my maiden name growing
Okay.
up. And she's like, Hoop, I'm hungry. And I'm like, all right, cool, no problem. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I should go home. But nope, go to a drive through Del Taco, and we're in the food line. Anyway, she gets out of the car, goes up to this chick's car up front. There's 4 chicks in there, starts in the huge brawl. And I have another moment of clarity. People are standing on their
Wow.
cars watching this fight, and they're literally chanting my last name. And it it broke me,
Yeah.
broke broke me. And it was the first time in a really, really long time, and I mean like a year and a half, because I did ask for help when I needed the help to get in the rooms. But I just said, okay, God, if you exist, I will follow you. And a couple months later, I met this amazing man that I fell head over heels in love with the moment I saw him. And he invited me to church and asked if I would come. And at that time, I was in the occult. I'm heavily into witchcraft and everything else. And he wasn't afraid of me, and
Hmm.
he wasn't worried. He tells me that he saw this beautiful young woman, and invited me to church. And that minute, that was it. And
Wow.
that was one of the huge things. And my life is freaking radical. It is
Yeah.
insane. Every single day, my kids experience it. My husband experience it. My best friend Bree experience it. Everybody, if you're with me just for one day, the craziest things happen. And I wouldn't have it any other way.
I love that. And loving your life as it is. And it's
Hmm.
imperfect perfections or imperfections, whatever you want to call it. It's what shapes us. And I mean, that's like what I knew from the conversation we had. I was like, holy crap, like what can this woman not do, you know? So but talk a little bit about Grace and Chaos. Who is it for? What do you do? Because I think I forgot to mention in the intro, you are a speaker as well. So who do you speak
Yes, I
to? And is
am.
that a part of the Grace and Chaos or is that separate?
You know, it was a dream of mine 15 years ago, and I just silenced it. We
Hmm.
all have fears.
Yeah.
We all get scared about things. It just so happens for some reason I'm able to talk to some gangbangers on the street, and then you want to put me on the stage, and I want to pee my pants. So,
Yeah.
um, so that has just come, and of course it's for Grace and Chaos. So Grace and Chaos is my business partner name is Brianne Adams. She is a Marine. She is a wife. She's a mom. She loves me in a way that she puts me in my place, and
Mhm.
she doesn't pick up my broken pieces, but she stands shoulder to shoulder. She's got my back no matter what.
Yeah.
And why would we not go into business together? So
Hmm.
it's a consulting agency, and we each have our own little pieces right now. And my piece is Hey Coach Jenn. And she's a nerd at heart. Anything in the back end, listen, anyone, if you need anything, like just reach out to me. Anything back end, uh, marketing, I mean, implementation,
Yeah.
innovation, like she's it. Plus she's a freaking badass Marine. I mean, I admire any person that serves for our country. And that's exactly our mission statement. Our mission
Hmm.
statement is two things. We are going after every motherfucker that touches a child
Hmm.
anywhere on this planet. And I think I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
And we want to make so much money that we offer services to military families that their spouses are overseas, special forces or not, and they haven't heard for the wives. Um, and for the families to actually have a community that is outside the military, not because the military isn't great, because sometimes women just need other women,
Yeah.
and our military families are suffering um big time. There's PTSD, there's suicide, there's affairs, there's domestic violence. I mean, just like everywhere else. For me, I get so angry about it because these men and women were born to go to war for us. They were born to take a stand and to fight in a way that so many of us can't even fathom.
Yeah.
And the fact that their families are not taken care of, I just was like, nope, enough. We're not doing it. So that's
Absolutely.
our mission statement.
And that's
Yeah.
it's honorable thing and it's admirable at that. And I love what you do. I appreciate what you do. I have another friend who is trying to do something for women as well. I think it's a or the wives left behind. And yes, there's like husbands in dual military situations and all kind, but the fact that it does get kind of lost or your family's gone for a long time, I mean, that support system is extremely important. So I value what you're doing, and I hope it touches as many people as possible. Whoever's listening to share the information, connect everything that needs to happen. But I did want to kind of backtrack about the human trafficking piece and the children specifically. I'm assuming from what you said, I want to dive into that and talk about your experience because I know you have extensive experience, and obviously it's trickled into you are still finding a way to provide value in that field in a different way.
Yeah. So I don't exactly remember how I got involved. Um, yeah, I don't. I'm sorry. What I think just really, I'm the person that's on the ground with my boots. I have not served in the military. I have served our country, but I have not served in the honorable way that a lot of men and women do. And because because I took a path for so many years, I'm a true warrior at heart. Like
Yeah,
I love to fight. I love to love. I love violence. And at times you need it all. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And after having my own children and being a part of the dark side for a really long time, I just knew that that I had an amazing opportunity to get involved, and so I did. And I started. I mean, I started sweeping floors at a church for a woman to even before they would even let me into a place to even start talking to the women first before it even became kids. And I just was like, if I do this for the rest of my life, and whoever sees me through that window, and they know that I'm here every single week for 2 hours, then that's going to do something. And I just trusted and believed that every step that I took, um, it would touch someone, because there are people that have done that for me, and
yeah.
that was a way to give back. So I started that way, then started with some women just from off the streets, and then I heard about the kids, and I was blown away,
Mhm.
like blown away. And then the rage came, and so then I decided to, hey, like I want in the real way. I want to be able to participate, and for y'all to utilize some gifts that I have that you may or may not be aware of, and let's go save these kids. And I was able to do that for a few years, and it was a very intense moments. I'm gonna cry again, but um, I had 4 kids at home, and I was risking my life for a bunch of kids, and I had no problem with it. Either did my children.
Yeah.
And they know who their mom is. They knew what she
Mhm.
was up to. It wasn't that they were more important than my kids, or my kids were more important than anybody else's kids. But like, I love children. But
Mhm.
there is a piece of my innocence that was lost at a young
Yeah.
age, and if somebody else takes a child's innocence, I'm not stoked. And
Yeah.
so did that for years, and there's always a time and a place, and got caught up in a situation, and just really wasn't able to shake it.
Yeah.
So hung up the boots, and then for years after that, just loved on them once they came in, and did my best just to provide some love and attention. I taught them a lot of the teams that would come in. I taught them self-defense.
Yeah.
And I'm not a pro, like I'm not a pro at any stretch of the imagination. It just was an activity to get them to kind of mellow out, for them to see who I am, to eventually, if they wanted to open up one day, that they could, and then to get them on a path. And you win, unfortunately, in this game, you win some and you lose some.
Yeah, that's really sad. And it's, I mean,
Yeah.
what you're doing is still important. Even getting them out there into back into safety, so to speak, is a win. So share with us like one of the or some of the wins that you've experienced and got to be a part of.
So there's about 7 women that I'm still in contact with, that they got in
Wow.
contact with me years later,
Wow.
because um, the organization that I was with, that the minute they left the house, there was no contact, and that was to protect them and to protect us, and and they get a chance to. It's difficult for them, A lot of
Yeah.
people end up going back, and so these women started reaching out to me 6, 7 years afterwards, and to see their life, to see their face, to see their faith, and whether their faith is in the same God that I have or not. In these moments, I not that I don't care, because I do care about people's souls. Um, when there's a connection like that with a child, 14, 15-year old, and you get to see them years later, nothing else matters than to see that smile. Nothing. Um, and to even think what I did and the little piece that I did change their life, it's something that really just humbles you as a human being, and so that's one of the best ones I can share. And then most of the other ones, I have no idea. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about them, or probably will never. That's what I signed up for. And I signed, at that time when we were doing some fun tactical stuff, it was in and out, and you don't get to connect, you don't get to talk, you don't get to do any of that stuff. And and I was good with that too.
Yeah. And just getting them out. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you just do your part to get them safe.
Man, if I could be there all day long on in our borders, on the
Yeah.
front lines, flying, whatever,
Hmm.
wherever, just making phone calls. I mean, I am called to other things right now to really bring awareness. But I would absolutely do that all day long.
I can imagine, and it's something that I mean, so many, and I want to say they're all, your two-way supporters, like certain types of people out there are the ones really pushing this. I mean, I think even Mark Wahlberg just came out recently
Hmm.
and was talking about, any pedophile, anything, not even just trafficking, but it's like we will kill you type thing. Like that
Yep.
kind of a vibe where it's like, why would we disagree? Like I have a shirt that says "Kill all pedophiles." I'm like, do you disagree with me? And it's not just that, it's the trafficking thing. It is a startling number of people that are trafficked within our own damn walls. You know what I mean? It's not just coming from other countries. And I think that's
No.
what we need to wake up to. Not we, but as a people, that it's happening and it's being orchestrated. And I think
It.
that's what's scary.
It's thank you for even saying that. It is being
Yeah.
orchestrated. It's a business that is organized so professionally, and there are so many layers of it.
Yeah.
And and not to get political, but to get a little political, there are a lot of people that think that pedophilia is fine and dandy, or they don't really, oh, they were young, or maybe it was just a mistake. And I've got a message for you too, like, don't you dare fucking touch a kid, definitely not mine.
Yeah.
And then there are some people that, some people really cannot comprehend, and they just, their brain cannot comprehend how crazy it is, how big it is, because it is so disgusting.
Yeah.
And once like, it doesn't go away. And and for the people out there that just don't want to know and stuff, like, right on.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't even have to be your role. You know what I mean? To be in denial is one thing, and like, cool, right on with that. we all are going to sit on a judgment seat one day, and I don't have to worry about that. So, but yeah, it causes so much destruction for generations, and
Yeah.
that's the faith part for me. That's when my faith switched into this, the healing of the heart. There's my friend Kat. I hope she doesn't get pissed for me saying this out loud, but here we go. She reminds me, Jen, share from the scar, not the wound.
Mhm.
And and I didn't put that together, but that's exactly how it is for these kids all the time. Is at any moment anything can trigger anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
even have to do with anything. And so to get some of these young men and women prepped and prepared for that, for them to know that they're coming, and sometimes it's even just walking, and sometimes it happens months before. And like, I'm going through something pretty intense personally right now, and one day hopefully I can share about it out loud. And I didn't even see the small little triggers that came,
Okay.
and they're so small because, well, for me, I do like to do the internal work. And so when you teach these young men and women that like, I ask them to close their eyes and who do you want to be when you grow up, because every child has a dream.
Yeah.
And no matter, and like, it's absolutely disgusting what occurs and stuff, but they still have a dream. And to allow them to experience that, I ask them what they're wearing, what kind of cologne they're wearing, what kind of shoes they're wearing. Like, do they have diamond earrings? Do you even know what that is? You don't know what hair dye is? Let me show you. Like, we get them to a place to quote unquote normalize them. And what I mean by that is they have no idea how people live every single day.
Yeah.
So I want them to experience this and then start dreaming. And like I said, I don't have a personal percentage. I don't think any of the people that I've ever been with necessarily do. Um, but our job, my purpose, my job is just to plant a seed.
Yeah.
And I see, when I sleep, I see lots of faces all the time, and I just cry for them and pray for them, and praise God that if I was able to touch the heart, thing, that He let me do it at that time. That's all I could
Ab-
do.
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm just curious on the tools for the mental tools or anything mindset wise. Like, how do you stay resilient? How do you stay? I mean, I'm sure it's not positive all the time. I mean, you're seeing awful, awful things or hearing it or just knowing because you've seen it firsthand. Like, it's one thing. I'm disgusted just knowing it happens and having seen little bits and pieces. I can't imagine being there on the ground assisting or seeing, like, I just can't even imagine how much more rage I would feel or heartbreak. So how do you remain resilient in that and continue to do what you're doing?
Gosh, I want to say right now I'm not, but that would be a lie.
Yeah.
I am very resilient, and I'm a woman of valor. That is
Yeah.
that is
Hmm.
for freaking sure. You know, a lot of what I we call it a racket, like a victim racket, or a
Yeah.
default story. Something that I was really, 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 really good at doing when I was younger was I was really able to detach and become indifferent. And
Okay.
so I knew if I became indifferent, then I was really there for the wrong reasons. When it came to, once I saw, if we did see a child or a human being or whatever it was, that if I was able to switch from indifference to, once I saw another human being, then I knew that I could do it.
Yeah.
If I, at any moment, if I didn't, I had to allow, like, that was the boundary for me. I had to allow myself to take a step. And so there are a lot of things that you stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that you see over and over and over, and you kind of get numb a little bit. You have to, like, allow yourself to just really get numb.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, I think too, my past was pretty freaking violent and
Yeah.
nasty. And so it wasn't like I was like Little Miss Riding Hood and I just walked into some bad wolf's house.
Hmm.
Like, I was the bad wolf at one point,
Okay.
and so, not to a huge extent, but I mean, I wasn't a nice person at all. So um, I will tell you, so I can be transparent and really guard my heart. A lot of that stuff has come back this last year. I'm
Wow.
in some really deep PTSD therapy work. My mental health. Um, my family got scared for a little while the last six
Yeah.
months, and reaching out to the people that I know that when you open your mouth about some of the things like the dreams or the night terrors or not sleeping that's occurring for me, any details that I tell another person, I'm actually responsible for that with that other human being.
Yeah.
And it's not that I don't want someone to carry things with me, but like I said earlier, sometimes it's just not for everyone. So, so I just knew that the cost was too high. That if I broke, I'm willing to go to the dark places. Um, I'm willing to put the shoes on, put whatever it is, wherever God's calling me, whoever needs help, wherever it is, I'm willing to go. I will go scared. I will do it scared, and then throughout that I will become brave, and that's what it is. And the cost is too high. A child's life, there is no value on a child's life. There is no value on a human being's life. Some were not just children.
Hmm.
And they I needed a woman to fight for me when I was younger in a way that I wasn't able to communicate at a really young age. Like, I'm not blaming my family or any of that stuff. And I knew that these human beings that I were looking at had no chance at a fight, none. And gosh darn it, before they ever, if anything ever again, I wanted to see that someone was willing to fight no matter what at all costs because they were worth it. And that's how
Yeah.
you keep going.
Yeah. That's a very powerful message, and it's hard to hear that you're still having to face some of the demons inside or the demons that have happened, and it's a part of life, and I'm glad that you're working through and what you're doing. I'm sure there's some kind of backwards therapy to it too, helping someone else is going to help you, or maybe it's the God thing, like let him. And it's hard sometimes. I mean, there's sometimes I get mad with God too, because I'm just like,
Oh,
why, like dude, like, is this for real? Like I thought we were done with this, you know.
my kids always so I walk around the house and I'm,
Hmm.
you know, mumbling underneath my breath, and all of my kids know that
Yeah.
I'm talking to God, I'm in prayer. For me, this is just my personal experience, and uh, you know, I mean, I'm just, Jesus is my jam, you guys, and
Yeah.
I've tried lots, I've been doing lots, and this God chased me until I was willing to let Him find me, and He's a gentleman, and He was not going to force Himself on me, and throughout that, we've grown into this like really amazing, tight knit, beautiful relationship
Yeah.
that I forget that like I should share about. So, but
Yeah.
I am definitely pissed at God a lot, and my kids know the difference.
Mhm.
And there's a joke around my house, Mom, we don't want to be struck by lightning. You just dropped an F bomb,
That's
and
awesome.
and then I like respond, Jesus flipped over the tables, and then he went in and he looked for leather to make whips. He was that pissed. Like, I'm pissed. And my youngest now, he's like, you can be pissed, but maybe not drop an F bomb. Like, you need to go
Yeah.
apologize for that. So, like, no, I'm super angry.
Mm.
This is the thing that I do know. I do know this. Um, God is pissed,
Yeah.
and this world does not know the severity of God.
Nope.
They do not. They will not try to understand. People want to blame. I don't. And this isn't even a Christian faith. Like, people want to blame other human beings for hurting them inside of a building, and I get it. I would be effing pissed too. Um, and I've been hurt inside the church building. I've been hurt inside of lots of buildings. This is the thing, though, that you have a God that is so loving, and all He wants is this beautiful, loving relationship, and it's a love story between you and God, that when you let Him catch you over and over and over, the things that He will heal you from and for and what reasons, and then when He invites you and calls you out into the world, then you get to have experiences that I do. And some people that I know have even more radical experiences, like out of helicopters and feeding kids in the slums in Africa, in
Yeah.
Nicaragua, and and like right on, that's for them. I'm downtown here in Houston, and so it's I get pissed too. I think we all should be pissed, and
Yeah.
I just can't fathom blaming them. I'm part of the problem.
Yeah, and we all are. And I think it's
Mhm.
important that you even said that. And I like how you said everything with, that God is pissed. Because how many people have thought about that? I mean, it's a very godless world right now, I would say. Even
It
the
is.
country. It's a pushing it away, like what's faith? We're so worried about tearing each other down or identifying as a ping pong ball or something, a unicorn. Like I don't even know. We're so worried about little things and not about the bigger picture. We're forgetting
Yep.
God. We're forgetting that He created this. We're forgetting that at the end of the Bible, something's going to happen, and we're like leading the way to that in a sense, like destroying ourselves from the inside out. Um,
Yeah. Oh
and
God,
maybe I'm
that's
going
true.
overboard. I just get
No.
I'm God fearing for a reason. I fear the
Yeah.
power of God.
Well,
you know.
when you see things that you've seen,
Mhm.
when I've seen the things that I've seen, there is there is no way that you there's just no way for you to see that there's no such thing as good and evil. There's no way that you can't see that there's right and wrong. There is absolutely no way that anybody can fathom that this is okay, whether you believe in God or not.
Yeah.
That a human being is a human being, and they deserve to be honored, and they deserve to be cherished. And if you want to label yourself as whatever, and whatever community, like I don't like right on. I don't got a problem with that. I
Yeah.
do, however, will take a stand when it comes to certain. It's not even like a moral. Maybe it is moral and ethic for
Hmm.
me. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it just kind of comes to a place like we're talking about common sense here.
Yeah.
And it's we took advantage of it for a long time, I think, and people just thought that our men and women were gonna do what they do forever in a way, and like we're not even protecting our military, and
Yeah.
we're in it. We're There's a war happening, and if you don't believe it, whether you think it's on the ground or not, there's a war happening spiritually, and I know one thing: I'm not losing.
Yep. And I'll be on that team too. So
Yes,
We'll
yes,
be
ma'am.
we'll
Side
be
by side.
warriors in this world and the next. Who knows? But I kind of wanted to move to the women's empowerment side. So I know you said you are a woman of valor. You work with a lot of women. You have strong women in your life, and you are someone that I would deem a strong woman. So how I like to ask this question because it's very interesting to me, about how do we make the women's community stronger? How do we help support each other more and be there for each other more? Because I think it's something that's not happening as frequently or as just women. I don't see them as being as nice to each other as we could be, or just being a lending hand.
Yeah, this is at 24 years old, a woman came up to me and she was like, "You need to go meet that woman." And I was like, "No way." And
Hmm.
what was really occurring was like I was scared inside. I mean, our brain goes from assessing to judging really quickly. We're always assessing, and then if you're not careful, if you don't know yourself very well, you go to judgment. I was totally judging her because I was so insecure. I'm 24, a deadbeat, pretty much two kids, and I'm supposed to go talk to this woman that has like lipstick on and looked like I didn't even know people really looked like that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it just was so weird to me. And I'm wearing a shirt that me and a very dear friend of mine, still Kelly, it said "fuck you, you fucking fuck." Like I'm supposed to go up to some woman and like, you know what I mean? And I'm very crass. And at this point, like I was very, very rough around the edges. And
Yeah.
this beautiful woman grabbed my face and she said, "From this point on, whenever you're afraid of a woman, if you go up to her and introduce yourself, watch what will happen." And I don't know why I listened to her, but I did. And that's what it is. I think that's what it's going to take is every single time, whether I'm in the gym, I'm training, and my other stuff that I'm training at a women's event, at a retreat, at some weird hippie thing, because I'm like, I think I'm really a hippie at heart, at the grocery store, or
Yeah.
whatever. If my heart starts pounding and I look up and there's a woman there, then I'm like, okay, great, we're gonna go right up to her, and I will walk up to her, and I just say this, like, I'm a little embarrassed. Like, I don't know why, but you made me really nervous. I just want to introduce myself. My name's, Jen Reese, and like, I don't know, but thank you so much for letting this to like calm me down. And we end up have like some amazing conversations. And I
Yeah.
do that when I'm like walking on the streets to homeless people. And you know, it I don't know if it makes them feel special or not, but what it does is it absolutely bridges the gap for me to get out of myself and stop judging myself and then blaming somebody else for how I'm feeling about me. And it's my best friend thinks it's a superpower. Right on, I'll take it. So I think
Yeah.
we could even just start with that. Like, find someone in the room that is polar opposite of you, like polar opposite. Go up and just say, like, hey, whatever it is that's going on in your brain, like, could you just sit with me for a couple minutes, and could I just get to know you? And ask simple questions, but they're powerful. Like, what's your favorite flower? When was the last time someone gave you a hug? Do you like creamer in your coffee? And then when you remember it, ask if there's a way that you guys can connect, and then send them something.
Yeah.
Like, let them know that you really did think about it. And if you get a chance, and if it's a total stranger, then like that's already been taken care of. And it has worked for me 99% of the time. I mean, I still get women that, when I'm working out or walking down the street, people will make comments or whatever. And I just like giggle. I'm like, right on, dude. I used to do that too. Like, that's cool. So
Yeah.
something like that. And just remember that we can all be hot as fuck, badass women. We don't have to look alike. And there's this thing called healthy competition. Like, what if we just actually linked arms and created something that was so beautiful that allowed men to come in, that allowed us
Mhm.
to really integrate together? Uh, the feminist movement, I'm like totally not in it, but what if we just stopped judging the definition of shit and just started
Mhm.
looking at somebody else as a human being the way that we actually want to be looked at, and just said, hey, we may totally disagree, but we agree on one thing, on love. I mean, I'll go
Yeah.
after anything with that. If someone doesn't love me, like, I'll still go after them. Challenge
Yeah.
accepted. Like, I don't have a problem with that. So that's a big thing, and that's really how I started a lot. It was really based on my own damn fears.
And
So
I admire that, and I love the advice. And that was probably like one of the best answers I've gotten to that question, because I think because it's so simple. I think that's why it's so
mhm.
beautiful. So we were talking about with the women and each other in a community. How do we embrace each other? How do we just have a simple conversation like you had suggested? Because that's hard. It's almost like sometimes it could be embarrassing, or like you said, we're drastically. We might look polar opposite, but at the end of the day, like, we're all women. Why can't we link up? Why can't we be friends? Why can't we know more about each other, even at the gym or the grocery store? Because I know, for one, if a woman comes up to me and compliments me, whether it's, at the gym, or it's an outfit, or it's a this or that, like, I absolutely love that. And I love how confident those kind of women can be. It's like, if we had more of that, like you said, it would just be a better place to be, because who knows, it might make someone's day, but that person might really be going through something, and that one conversation might absolutely take them away from the edge of the cliff. Like, you have no idea.
Well, and like, if you even like kind of step into the, like, what is something that I know that I don't know about the situation? What if the person that you're saying is rocking it and she's like super confident that day, and you tell her,
Yeah.
like, hey, like, whatever you're doing, thank you, because what's occurring for you, like, your energy, your, like, it is coming on to me, so thank you. And what
Hmm.
if, just because I said thank you to her, she was able to reach 10 more women that day?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we focus on, a lot of us, like, because all of us, like I said earlier, we all have boogeymans. I
Yeah.
am my own boogeyman, and so we tend to notice the people that may, we think maybe we're judging that they are sad or they are going through something. Everyone is, every single day. This is the thing about it, is as human beings, we're already vulnerable.
Yeah.
We already are. I could. walk out of this room and I can get in my car and something could happen or something could happen. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
am vulnerable no matter what. So when I really connect with that and realize that vulnerability it is here. And like one of my coaches says, his name's Dan, change is imperative. It's constant. So is vulnerability. And when I'm willing just to connect with that
Mhm.
piece of the world, then all I want, you guys, my whole life, all I ever wanted was connection,
Yeah.
like soul to soul connection with another human being. Looking in someone's eyes, something freaking majestic occurs. And I didn't realize at a young kid that that was the high I was always chasing, and I didn't know that. And I was very different, like I said, and very outgoing. And it got when it got squashed. Eventually, what occurred, I started squashing it, and then I was unapproachable for a long time. Like, don't get me wrong, y'all. I mean, I really was, and it's those women that I want to go to. It's the ones that think that they're unapproachable. It's the ones that they think that they're unlovable. And I'm not talking about what clothes we're wearing. There's a
Yeah.
lot of very successful women that I know, that I have known, that I'm in contact with, that really feel like they're worthless. And
Wow.
that, to me, it's unacceptable. And you know what? I'm one of those women too. There are many days that I'm just like I'm not special. I'm not unique. And that racket, that victim, she comes out to play a lot.
Yeah.
So
And I would say I'm guilty of the exact same thing. And it takes sometimes someone on the outside looking in to be like, "Are you kidding? Do you see what you've done?" But I'm like, sometimes if you don't believe in yourself that day or that moment, it's a very dark place, or it can be a very lonely place. And for anyone to say they haven't been there or to not feel confident, and all it takes sometimes is one person. Like if I'm having a down day and someone reads the energy, because I do believe in like energies to an extent. And I mean, there were some days where, it's when you're glowing, a lot of people notice it and they feed off of it. But there's also days where you're really low and someone comes along and either just shares a Bible verse or tells you, like, you look great, or how are you, actually asks you, how are you? I think that's also an energy thing too, where, almost perks you up because you are worth something. Someone does see you, like physically, yes, but also on a different level. Like people see you, like you matter,
mhm.
your voice matters. That's what I'd say on this platform too all the time. Like everyone's story matters. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't
Yep.
care if you think what you're doing is important or not important, or it's not enough. It doesn't matter. Like your story matters, your voice matters. And I'm all about that. And the whole women's field and in becoming, and this helps me and gives me tips on how to be a better person in society, a better woman
Mhm.
to other women. Because I mean, we're all guilty of certain things, and it's like, hey, why don't I just go out there? Like, how much does it cost to do that? Absolutely nothing. It's like the cost of your ego, maybe a little bit, to go up to someone who might be intimidating, but who cares?
Well, and this is the beautiful thing about like the ego. Like ego, it could be good or bad.
Mhm.
It could be right or wrong, or it
Yeah.
could be all this stuff. What if it just is? And so
Mhm.
if I'm so worried about my ego, then like let's test it out. Let's try my ego out. Let's
Yeah.
see what's really
What
occurring. And
happens?
you know what happens after every single time is that all of a sudden I'm stop focusing on my ego and I'm really focused on the woman who I want to become,
Yeah.
um, and that target. And it's more important about me becoming. I call her the samurai woman,
Hmm.
and me becoming her than it is about the ego. And it switches. And like we all fall into comparison: boobs, butt, hips,
Yeah.
thighs. I mean, all that stuff. We all have our insecurities. God forbid, my husband and my friends know what they are. And sometimes people bring them on us, and
Yeah.
sometimes we bring them upon ourselves. And this is the thing. Um, it's all a freaking gift.
Yeah.
And most of the time I can actually remember that. And my best friend left me this post-it note on my computer one time. And ladies, men, husbands, whoever's like listening,
Mhm.
and also like to send to leave a little post-it note on someone's computer without their name. Like, don't put your name on it. Just leave a little imprint. And she did, and I knew it was her just because of her writing. I mean, you kind of get to a place where you know that, but she said,
Yeah.
your existence gives me hope. And I never would have thought that I was someone that gave anybody hope. And that was never, I don't think that was ever the intention, but it's like you said, there are a lot of days that I go, and I'm not saying my family doesn't. There's a lot of days that I go that I don't hear how rad I am. I don't know how
Yeah.
beautiful I am. And sometimes I am talking about the looks. Like sometimes I do need like a little attaboy and
Hmm.
here, go rock this dress and you know, put some shoes on
Yeah.
and let me take you out and stuff. And and sometimes and the ego gets in the way of that more than the women. I'd rather have this is the deal. The chicks are gonna save your ass in your face. The dudes are just gonna want your ass.
Okay. Yeah. That's true.
And it's very true. And so that was a big thing. And I had to completely shift my whole life because for many, many years until the age of about 25, the only people that were in my life really were dudes.
Wow. And that's not the first time I've heard something to that effect too. And that's why I think building this women's community is so important because we don't know what anyone's gone through. Everyone's gone through their level of shit,
Mhm.
whatever it is, not comparing because something that happens to you and it's serious to you and means something, it means something. Like at the end of the day, it just means something. Um, and I think having that comfortability, that relatability, that, hey, we're all going through something, let's have each other's backs is so important. I mean, I've been in male dominant industries for a decade at this point, and it's starting to get to the point where like I don't even feel feminine. Which is probably why I model or, I try to look cute at the gym because I'm like, I'm not that they don't see me as a woman and I'm like, whatever, my t-shirt and jeans at work, but I'm like, I just feel so like I do a kind of grungy job, like where I work, I'm getting dirty and greasy every day. Um, and just working with guys and I'm always called like you're just like one of the dudes, like
Mhm.
you're just one of the guys, you just can hang with us. And I'm okay with that. Like, and I used to think it was really cool when I was, in my early 20s and stuff, because it's like, oh yeah, like I'm just like really good with the guys. But now I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just need strong women in my life. And this podcast has helped too, because I've met some incredible women that I stay connected with, just like you and I will stay connected after this.
Yep.
And I think that's so incredibly important. We understand each other on a different level. Sometimes you need that female, that feminine energy in your life as a woman to bring that out of you. Because I mean, we are powerful, incredible, badass women. And it's okay
Yep.
to be grungy and greasy and dirty, but like we can wear heels, we can wear makeup, we can be a
You,
baddie, but also beautiful.
not only first of all, I wanted to kind of bring this like back to you.
Yeah.
Like um man, I'm there was a time in my life where I thought I should have been born a man.
Mhm.
There are some of us women that are born for battle. There are some
Yeah.
of us women that um, that the headspace is there and we're there and looks whether people think you're hot or not or whatever it is that
Yeah.
the masculinity side of us is just it's willing and it's ready and it's able. And
Hmm.
also for women like us, that's when strong men, and this can go on a totally different thing, but a
Yeah.
strong man that is confident in who he's becoming, when he's confident enough, then our feminine side can stand out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes, it's gonna take a dude, and like no, like I'm not trying to offend anyone that doesn't like men or is with another woman. There's nothing like that, but there is someday going to be a strong man in your life that allows for you to see something different. It's not just a marriage heterosexual thing. And when you allow that to happen, the feminine side comes out. And that's been a big deal for me
Hmm.
too. My whole life, I have heard, and when we're in high school, kids are like sleeping around, and I was like, they're all kissing, making out. I'm like, what the hell? They're like, Hooper, you're the one that we bring home to marry. And like, I used to be pissed about it. I didn't understand,
Yeah.
or you're just one of the dudes. And, you know, that was my survival
Yeah.
also. It's also my racket.
Hmm.
I'm very comfortable with my masculine side.
Yeah.
So comfortable that I can, I like to call it every once in a while my dark savage. And, you know, I finally just allowed her to come out, like you said. And
Mm-hmm.
how it started is I go to the shooting range in high heels, like kid you not, by myself
Yeah.
because I'm super embarrassed about it. And uh but like I always like wanted, like, can you shoot in heels? Can you fight in heels? Can you dance in heels? Like there's all this
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And once I just kind of experienced things, but you know what? It did take a woman a couple years ago. I was coaching women, and this woman came up to me, and the coaching technique that we did was very loving, and also pretty darn in your face, you know.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You would look so beautiful in this dress." And I looked at her, Alyssa, and I I broke.
Wow.
And she was like, "You should go try it on." And I looked at her and I said, I go, "No." And she looked at me, she's like, "What?" And I said, "No, I would never try that on." I go, I wouldn't even know if I look good or
Mm-hmm.
not." And she called me later. Anyways, what happened? I would go to the mall, which it's not my favorite, and try on some dresses. I would take a picture and I would send it to her. And when she would respond, I ignored her for 24 hours. It took me 24 hours to be like brave enough to see, yes, that's good. No, that's not. Because for me, that
Mm-hmm.
no still was feeding that rejection piece for me, you know?
Okay.
Um, so it like I'm willing to and it does take it, it does like take a woman, and it takes a very
Mm-hmm.
confident man to allow the soft side, the feminine side in us. And also what you do for work isn't who you are. The
Yes.
beauty for, and I know you hear this, and like, and I always was like blah blah blah, like I
But
was a
to
truck
believe it,
driver.
yeah.
and I don't think I really believed it until after I got out of a lot of the masculine work. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my best friends, she works in, she's an underground piper, for crying out loud.
Wow.
Badass, freaking, God, I think she's turning 50. But she's underground laying pipe. I mean, talking about being in a man's world.
Mm-hmm.
And that freaking chick is so damn feminine, even when she's in her freaking like work outfit. And I and she inspires me,
Yeah.
and that's that. Like, I think a lot of us think femininity is a look. It's not. It's a way of being.
Mm-hmm.
And once that shifted for me, then I was okay. And but y'all, like, I gotta tell you, sometimes that's the scary side. That beauty in the beast. The beauty is something that scares me a little bit. The power of the feminine charm is incredible. You better know. You better know how to control it and love it and honor it and cherish it, and not expose her.
Yeah, no, and I love that it's protecting that girl, protecting that
Hmm.
younger version of you, but your future self as well.
Yep.
And I like all the little things that you said about femininity not being a look, because I mean, even me, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is true. It's how you carry yourself, it's how you talk, it's
Hmm.
how you walk, it's how you interact. Like lifting like I love when other women just lift each other up or just compliment or just something simple, because to me I'm like, you are so self-aware, you're emotionally intelligent, that maybe that person needs to hear that, or that just everybody deserves to be seen and acknowledged. I mean, that's just basic human desires, you could say, is just to feel important at the end of the
Yep.
day, to feel seen. And that's I mean, old school thinking too. I mean, that's never changed. Everyone wants to feel important. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and for it to come from a strong woman is so incredible. And I'm glad that you had
Yep.
that, and that you're vulnerable too, to be like, hey, like this is something, like me seeing yourself in a dress. I'm like, and all of us have faced something like that. Like when I became a mom, and I was like, I've never seen my body get
Oh God.
large before, and I was like, oh my god. And I was younger, and no one, and I was in the military, and no one at the time was having kids at my rank. They usually were a captain by then, when you're allowed to start having kids by the unwritten laws. I was like a young lieutenant, and I was like, well, whoops, like, it happens. And yeah, it was a very challenging time to be able to, I had to prove myself extra. I was still in a man's world, I had to be a mom at the same time. deal with a marriage that ended up falling apart because, just we were too young and didn't know what we wanted. But, I think it's very interesting just wrapping everything up that you said, like even it takes a strong man to bring out that feminine energy piece to you. And a couple of friends have told me that, because I've been like talking about this forever. I'm like, well, whenever Prince Charming decides to be made, or maybe God's still shaping him or finding him, like I don't know what's happening. But it is going to take a very, especially with a personality like ours, like very
Mhm.
A type, like we're not just gonna settle, especially.
No, we're not, and I will say this, if you're not with someone who is confident
Hmm.
with them inside, you will settle.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, eh, like, and I've done it,
Yeah.
like, I have settled for, people not walking in their greatness and the mediocrity, or, I lowered my expectations because, I've been told my whole life my expectations are too high, all of that stuff. And so there are pieces that you do really settle, and that's the death. And it's the death of any woman, whether you're very masculine or you're a little bit more on the feminine side, and you're really wanting your masculine side to come out. The settling, it's not so much about like the other person, it's really about like, am I willing to take a stand here? And there's a lot of times, Alyssa, that I just
Yeah.
don't. um, I fight so hard for everybody else, and I'm not trying to sound egotistical, and also it is egotistical. Like, it's both and here. I fight so hard for everybody else that there's a lot of times that I forget that I just have to take a stand for myself. And it's something I'm still learning and have not mastered, but I will for sure.
No, absolutely. And it's important. And what you're doing is amazing. And I know you're a busy woman. So
Yeah,
to wrap it up, I just wanted to thank you for opening up and being vulnerable with us, for hopping on, for being my friend, for being an amazing person to look up to. There's so
thank
much we
you.
can learn. And I can't wait to connect in real life in Texas, because that's going to happen. We were talking about it. So I'm looking forward to that and everything that we're going to uncover there. But I do appreciate, again, so much for having you here and sharing your story. I know there's so much more to it. So maybe we'll have you back, or we'll do it on a different type of platform. Like, who knows what's up with us? But can you let everyone know where to follow you at, or any other resource you have for them?
Yes. So on Instagram, I'm Hey Coach Jenn with two N's. And also my website is www.heycoachjen.com. Two N's also. You can pop on there, and if you have any questions, you can send me a text or a message or a DM. And once you do, we offer a lot of free lots of little free trinkets that have really helped me in the transformational space. And then also on my website, coming soon, there's some radical women's events coming up that you will I'm gonna keep on pushing that you and I are there together. um
Yeah.
and um and it's all there. And also, like, my private cell phone number is on there. Like, if there's ever an emergency
Mhm.
911 type of thing, like, my information is right there. And somehow or another, I will get back to you. And if it's not me, it's somebody else. So be ready. And I think, and that's it. That's how you can get to me right now. Lots of things are changing, and or maybe one day I'll actually run into them.
No, absolutely. And what you're doing is incredible. And I commend you again for the work that you're doing, God's work, and the work that's helping a lot of people. You're making a change. You are a change maker. You matter. And
Thank
what you're
you.
doing is so, so important. I'm getting goosebumps. So, anyways, thank you again, Jen, for coming on. And I cannot wait to connect and to share whatever we get into.
I cannot wait. And thank you so much for taking a chance on yourself and having a platform for women to really allow ourselves to use our voice in ways um that I mean, I didn't ever think I was going to get a chance to do this. So, like,
Yeah,
you're a fire starter. You paved the path, and I'm right there with you now. Thank you.
you are. Thank you. And everyone listening, thanks for joining in. There's many ways to support us, but the easiest way, and it costs $0, is to download the podcast, listen, leave a review, leave a like, leave a comment, something, spread it to someone who needs to hear it, and make sure you share those resources where needed. But for everyone listening, be adaptable and be reckless. We'll see you next time.
Never stop dreaming.